Hey, welcome back to Smut and Steady podcast.
I'm Amanda,
I'm Natalie.
and today we are talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yes, we are. If you have not read this book, there will be spoilers, so please don't watch this video unless you've read this book and potentially read the entire series.
All right, so diving in. Were your first thoughts about this book?
I thought it was weird. I hadn't picked up a book in a really long time, and I read this first book, and this one out of the series is kind of slow compared to the other ones. So it actually took me like 2 months to finish it. And to be honest, Feyre was kind of annoying in the beginning, and I didn't really understand the hype out of everything. And then halfway through the book, it like all clicked together. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like, I didn't know what to think about Feyre because in the beginning I was like, okay, I kind of knew like a synopsis of what the whole Acotar series was going to be. But then as I'm reading, I'm like, okay, so like Feyre is like poor. She seems dirty. But like for some weird reason in the back of my head, I'm like, I know something good's going to happen. So like, why is she so dirty? I don't know. But
and then in the beginning, she like murdered a wolf, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it.
She's dirty, but she's a bad bitch.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bad bitch. She turned out to be a bad bitch, though, in the end. Definitely. Yes. All right. So this first book, it definitely has a slow start, but you know, you meet Feyre, she's in the woods with her sisters, she's poor, she's hunting, she kills a wolf, and then this monster shows up. And in the beginning, if you don't know anything about the series, you're like, ooh, this is hot. Yeah. Tamlin, oh, like he's kind of hot, you know? And they have their little love affair, and you're just like, oh, a blonde, you know? He's gonna steal her away. Like, yes, please.
Please take me. No. What did you like? I know they described what Tamlin looked like in his beast form, but like, I don't know why, but when I was like reading the book, I just imagined like the Beauty and the Beast guy.
Oh,
like literally the Beast.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna turn into like the little fantasy. Like,
oh, for sure. I mean, I definitely like the way they described him. I literally thought he just looked like the Beast on all fours in the cabin. 1,000,000%. Yeah.
I also like when they say like he growled, and I'm like, what kind of growl are we thinking about? Like a dog growl or like a big growl? I don't know.
Yeah. And when you don't read smutty books and they start with like his eyes darken and he growls, you're just like, you don't know what that means, but it's something provocative, obviously. But you know, I'm sure it was sexy.
Probably. Well, obviously she went with him.
That's true.
He barely had to do anything. She was just like, I will go.
Yeah. All right. And what do we think of Lucien?
Okay, first thoughts. Why didn't she go for him? Like, as the book went on, I was like, leave the blonde bitch.
Yeah.
Go for him because he seems like he's actually on your side. And he was like more open to her. So like, obviously, that's
he
not
was
the way
like
the story
way
went,
more
but
like friendly. And I mean, I get it. Like, you know, she killed like someone important to Tamlin. So I guess he kind of gets like a pass, but like he was way more like welcoming and like, I don't know.
And I also like, weirdly enough, like picturing him with the fucking metal eye. Like, to me, that was not attractive in one bit because I just had like something, I think it was like someone in Harry Potter that had like the one like mechanical eye. It could be totally wrong, but like that's just like what I was picturing. I'm like,
I totally agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. I think Lucien was way more, but I'm not like into blonde men. So I also think that like I thought like he was like kind of hot and like I didn't know where the story was going. So I kind of thought that, you know, I was like, oh, okay, you know, they just tried really hard to describe him like super pretty and like hot. And so like, okay, cool. But Lucien, I don't know. I mean, he had like a scar and everything. And
I guess the one eye is hot. I don't know. I like Thor with his one eye. So there you go.
I don't know. I guess so. I don't know. But getting back into Lucien and Tamlin, there's fan art everywhere. So if you're on TikTok or any sort of social media, I'm sure you've seen it. But the question is, with taking out what we all know now, looking at the fan art of Tamlin versus Lucien, like, who would you sleep with?
Lucien.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I can't. I don't know.
Plus, also, like, I saw something on TikTok that was like this orchestra or whatever, and then it was like this blonde guy like playing like some instrument, and it was like all I could imagine is Tamlin playing the fiddle. Like, what a little bitch.
The fiddle. Oh my god. They rip this man apart.
Yes.
Like, they absolutely rip this man. Like, tampon. Like, it's fine. Okay.
But like, that's the weird part about the book. Like, you literally, I love hearing people read this book because it's like, oh my god, I love Tamlin, and I feel like I was that too, and you had already read the book before I did, so I know in her mind she's like, oh my god, you're gonna fucking hate him.
I mean, I knew that you were gonna hate him, but I also loved him when I first read this book. But I also just feel like once their whole story kind of happens, and then she's under the mountain and stuff, and Rhysand kind of like comes into the picture a little bit, I also really start to have my like doubts, because I was like, okay, like they try, like he's like the villain here, like he's still the villain like in this book kind of, but then he's doing all these things for Feyre, and I'm like, seems a little sus.
Yeah.
You know?
Plus, like, was Tamlin really under a trance while he was under the mountain? Like, that's what I want to know. Because like,
I don't buy that.
I don't buy it either.
He also, I completely agree with like Rhysand and like the whole like thought behind the fact that like Tamlin, like, instead of trying to get her out, just like made out in like a fucking closet. like instead of saving her or trying to make some sort of exit, they were like, this is the perfect opportunity to like try and fucking in this closet right here. Like,
I'm not going to save your life. You're going to go back into the pits of hell, but let's make out before you do.
Yeah. So I don't really understand. I don't really understand any of that. So I definitely feel like once you get halfway through the book and Rhysand really starts to make, you know, an appearance, and then there's the whole like, I mean, like we said, you don't really know it's him, but when he's like, there you are, I've been looking for you, and then you figure out what that means, it like destroys your entire universe.
Yes,
it shatters it into pieces.
On to the next.
But no, the whole under the mountain thing, I mean, can we also talk about how she couldn't read for the one challenge?
Poor Lucy's like, are you kidding me right now?
He definitely thought he was gonna die, for sure.
I would have thought the same thing. I would have been like, bitch.
Or the fact that the worm, I pictured the worm from SpongeBob.
You know, Feyre is just so great. She covers herself in shit and defeats this like worm from SpongeBob, and you know, that's when Rhysand looked at her and he was like, I like this chick, you know, covered in shit.
Yeah, she's sexy as hell. That's how you knew it was love.
That's how you knew. Need to like touch on the fact that like we love Feyre because she's an artiste.
Yeah.
But did anybody else picture her paintings as like some little scribble stick figures?
Oh, for sure.
Like just like all over the house. I'm like, okay, Feyre. Like, we already know you don't know how to read, but like, are these paintings good?
1,000%. 1,000%. Just because I think that they made her in the beginning, like she was helpless. Like, it was like she was kind of helpless. Like, her family was helpless. Like, the only thing that she could do was really hunt. And then they were like, oh, she can't read, but she can like draw. And you're like, like this illiterate woman is, I don't know. So yeah, no, I
also have to say, like, it kind of reminded me of Cinderella because, as you know, like, Feyre, she, like, hunted and did, like, everything for the family, but yet she still was, like, the redheaded, like, stepchild. Yeah. Like, Nesta's like, whatever. No one. She's like, give me the food and shut up. Like, yeah.
Or Elaine, like, could only grow flowers and not actual food, like, to save the family.
Cool. Yeah, actually, Nesta just sounded like such a mean person in the very beginning, and Elaine just sounded like she was just like such a ditzy little girl, you know, out there with her little plants.
No, I don't understand any of that. It also, the very beginning of this book was definitely like Beauty and the Beast. Like,
100%.
Took her away and like locked her up, except, you know, in Beauty and the Beast, she ended up with the blonde man. Also, can we talk about, for a second, Beauty and the Beast? Like, do we think in that movie, do you think she was disappointed when he turned back into a man? Because he was kind of uglier as like a man versus like
honestly,
beast.
After reading all these like smut books, yeah, probably. In the adult version of this world, do we need
help? Yeah. like I would rather have him with hair all over his body than when he transformed into like a blonde man. I don't know. She kind of looks disappointed, like
just a little bit.
Yeah, she's like, oh.
Because she fell in love with the ugly of him, and then he turned pretty, and she's probably like, oh, okay, just a regular guy.
Just a regular fool. Oh my gosh. And he's not like dark and morally gray. Like he's just a blonde man.
Yeah. But like,
I don't know.
I did love Beauty and the Beast growing up. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Belle read a lot. She probably read a lot of smutty books.
Yeah.
That's probably why she was like,
it was just too PG for us to know about it, you know?
We didn't really know the behind the scenes.
It's like when you rewatch, like, I don't know, Shrek, just rewatching it, like now that I'm an adult, there's so many like hidden like little adult like things in it.
Yeah.
And now it like makes me want to watch like the old princess movies because I'm like, I need to see the hidden stuff.
Oh, you know. For sure.
Now my mind has evolved from a 5-year-old to a 10-year-old. So and now we read
a few years of age difference, for sure, but still, no, I agree. Do we have any thoughts on who would play, like, if they were to make like a movie out of like this first book, like who would play like Farah or Tamlin? Like, that's such a shitty role, I feel like. I mean,
well, like, obviously no one wants to be Tamlin because in further books we find out a lot more. But
I guess like, but like if they did do a movie, like someone would have to play Tamlin. Would that be like an honor though? I mean, in a sense, to be like, oh, like I'm part of. It's almost like a Hunger Games or like Harry Potter. Like no one wants to be Voldemort, but like everybody knows who Voldemort is. You know,
that's my favorite character, actually.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I feel like that person would really love their role for the first movie because, you know, like Tamlin's the shit in this book. But I honestly couldn't see, I don't even know who I would see playing him.
I don't know either.
And like, I always see Henry Cavill as like every book boyfriend, but he's kind of older. So I don't know.
Yeah. I also feel like Tamlin would just have to have like long, luscious blonde locks, and I just can't picture. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you guys have any ideas, let us know.
Yeah, because
drop your comments on who you think would play a really good Tamlin.
I couldn't really pick one out. But then Farah, who would play Farah? I'm so bad at this.
I'm bad at this too. I don't know. Again, if you have any recommendations on what we should do, I don't know. Some probably tiny petite actress. I don't know. Some very pretty actress.
But like I feel like I don't really know any of the like new like actress out there. Oh, you want to? Okay, never mind. That's skipping forward into a different book. Never mind. We are just going to delete that from this.
Deleted.
Yeah.
Now.
I'm not even talking about it. Okay, on to the next. So like just me being a bartender or was a bartender, I just like to think this, like, what kind of drink would you think that these people would drink? Like to me, like Tamlin, like he's a whiskey sour because, you know, he comes off as like a fine gentleman.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you get that little sour taste in your mouth because towards the end of the book, this man flips the script. But
I don't know. I would agree with that for Tamlin. I feel like Farah comes off as like a little bit almost like espresso martini. Like I just feel like she's just kind of going to be like a little bit like classy and just like, I don't know, easygoing. Like I don't really know what Nessa would be like some hard, like she'd be like an old fashioned.
Oh, 100%
like
old fashioned.
Or like something would just like, or like straight tequila. Like it would just be something like
I could see that.
You know what I mean? Like just
straightforward.
Yeah, like she's in it. And then Elaine, like does Elaine even drink at all?
She would be something super fruity that has like barely anything, like I don't know, maybe like a Sex on the Beach, but not really a Sex on the Beach because she's just so like innocent in this book.
Yeah.
So
but that's what I'm saying. Like she's so innocent in this one where I'm like
rephrase mocktail. Mocktail is Elaine.
Yeah, she'd be a mocktail.
A fruity mocktail.
Yeah. Like some sort of mojito or something.
Okay, so like Lucian though. What would he drink? He's like mysterious, so I feel like he'd be like a Scotch kind of guy.
Ooh, yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
That's hot.
I'm going to go with Scotch.
That's kind of hot.
And obviously you could tell we favor Lucian a lot. Over the men in this book.
Yeah. Just this one, okay? Just this book particularly. But Rhysand, I mean, we don't really know much about him yet.
Yeah.
In this book. But like what drink would he be?
he's so sophisticated and dark. I don't know. I didn't think about that one.
I don't know.
Because, like, he could fall under the, like, category of, like, old-fashioned, too.
Yeah, he could.
But he could also be Scotch, like,
what is
Johnny Walker, like, Blue Label, you know? Something that, like, the rich people drink. I don't know.
Old man. 500-year-old.
Yeah, 500-year-old. I could just see him sitting there, like, cross-legged with, like, his freaking glass out.
I mean, like, it's not the fairy wine like you made Farrah drink.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the fairy one.
Oh, I guess Farrah could also be into wine. Like, maybe we could give...
Yeah, but after she's drugged with wine, or would that be her drink of choice?
I don't know. Maybe normal wine, maybe not, like, fairy wine.
But I love how Reese, like, obviously reading further into the books, now that I look back at it, I'm just like, wow, Reese really took advantage of her. He's like, drink some wine, you know, dance on me nice and slutty.
He was desperate.
Yeah, he was
so desperate. He was like, I love this woman.
Yeah, but I'm only going to do this to her when she's drunk. I need her to hate me for the whole first book because, you know, plot building.
He made himself the villain. He really did.
But we kind of like that about him.
Yeah. We like that about most of our morally gray men. As long as they're not cheaters, it's fair game, ladies.
Yes. Well, technically. Yeah, I don't know.
What?
Because she, like, describes Reese as, like, the most beautiful man that she's ever saw.
Ooh, yes.
But yet she still goes back with Tamlin.
Yeah, but no offense, but girls make dumb decisions.
Girls make stupid decisions.
The time.
She's like, this guy Rhysand's helped me the whole time under the mountain, but yet the man that I love has just sat behind a desk. Like,
it's like when your friend is dating someone who does, like, the below average things, and she's, like, obsessed with that, and you're just like, this man is so basic.
Yeah. Everybody's, like, screaming, like, don't do it, but you're like,
he's great, everything's
perfect. But, like, also, did you feel like towards the end of the book that Feyre was gonna, like, become Fae? Like, did you get that feeling when you were reading the book?
I didn't, but I'm also stupid. I did not. I had no idea.
I just remember we were flying back from a trip, and she gave me this book to read, and I just got to some point because she's like, I swear to God, the book gets good. It gets good. And I just remember, like, turning, like, the pages towards the end of the book, and I, like, look over at her. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But
it does. Sarah J. Maas has that effect.
You know, she's, like, the shit.
She is the shit.
We like her. Even though, like you said, that book, for this being one of the smallest books in the series besides the little blue one, it did take a while to read.
Yeah, it did.
Just, like, the very beginning. It's just like, oh my gosh, what is this about?
It took me 2 months. And especially since I hadn't read any books, like, before this one. And I was just kind of like, oh, okay. And I feel like I had just, luckily, kind of gotten this book as, like, a birthday present. And it wasn't really hyped up yet, as I feel like. Or I just wasn't on the book talk whatever page of, like, last year. But when I read this, like, I had no idea. Like, I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I didn't have fan art. I didn't have anything. I read this book and I was just like, okay, I had no idea who Sarah J. Maas was. Like, I didn't know that there was, like, a 16-book multiverse
that will change your life,
that will alter your life. So I think it just took me, like, a hot minute. But now I feel like anytime I press this book on, like, any of my friends, I'm just like, just push through it, baby. Like,
just read it.
It's so worth it.
The second book is so good. You have to read it.
It's so good.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you introduced me to this book because I didn't like reading at first. I will say that. I did not. But
now we have reading addiction.
Yeah.
Now we have a reading problem. Now we have a lot of book boyfriends.
Yes.
The list is endless. The TBR is endless.
Which we'll talk about more book boyfriends in later episodes because obviously the only book boyfriend we see in this book is Lucen.
But Tamlin doesn't even make the
cut. Like, Rhysand does, but, like, we just don't know him, like, good enough yet. So.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
So definitely. Lucen wins book boyfriend for A Court of Thorns and Roses. Woo! And yeah, definitely like Feyre because she just, like, is this weak girl and then she turns into kind of a bad bitch at the end, you know?
Let us know your guys' opinion. Like, is Lucen your book boyfriend? Or did you know it was Rhysand right away? Or do some of you still like Tamlin?
Sorry.
I mean, we'll try not to judge you.
We're not judging, I swear.
We won't judge you, I promise. But the next episode, we'll talk about the second book, and that one's huge, and there's a lot
more to talk about
in that one for sure. That one really just snags your heart.
Yes,
that one really just hooks you. I feel like if you can get through this first one and then you get through the second one, like it's game over.
Yeah,
like,
and then we also have to talk about how every like last 100 page in a Sarah J. Maas book just crumbles and shit gets interesting, and then you're like, I have to pick up the second book or the third book or whatever book you're reading.
Yeah.
Because it's addictive.
Yeah. If you know anything about Sarah J. Maas at this point, you know that once you get close to the end, you're about to cry.
Yeah, you're like staying up until like 3 a.m. You got work the next morning. You're like, oh my God.
You're about to just go, you're going to need therapy after
I agree.
any of her endings. But all right, well, thanks for tuning in.
This is our first episode
ever. You can't tell. We're professional.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time. Bye, guys.
Thanks.